So today we're going to talk about a really critical choice facing the community of Milford. It's a decision that's going to have a huge impact on its high school students and really the entire local workforce. And it all centers on one place, the Applied Technology Center. The big question is it ready for the future or is it kind of stuck in the past?
So here's the game plan. First, we're going to look at the big picture, why this thing called career and technical education is such a game changer for students. Then we'll zoom right in on Milford Center as it is right now, and, well, you'll see why things need to change, and fast. After that, we'll check out the specific plan on the table, and finally, we'll talk about what it all boils down to, a huge community vote in March of 2026.
Let's start with the people who matter the most here, the students. Emma Swanberg, who graduated a few years back, just says it perfectly. These programs are all about giving students a real head start, whether they're going to college or straight into a career. This is the kind of real personal impact we're talking about. So what in the world is Career and Technical Education, or CTE anyway? Well, it's not just another class. Think of it as a totally different way to learn. It combines the usual academics with hands-on, real-world skills. So students aren't just reading about a job in a textbook, they're actually doing it, building it, creating it. And get this, they can often earn college credits and even professional certifications before they ever leave high school. Which brings us right to our first big question. Why does CTE matter so much? Well, if you look at the results, the numbers, they really tell the story. It's a win for the students, and it's a huge win for the whole community. Just let this number sink in for a second. Students in CTE programs have a 10% higher graduation rate. I mean, that's a massive difference. It just goes to show you, when learning is hands-on and feels relevant to the real world, students are way more likely to stay engaged and get that diploma.
And the story doesn't stop at high school graduation. Nope. Over 3/4 of these students go on to some form of higher education. This really shatters that old myth that CTE is something you do instead of college. For most of these kids, it's actually a powerful launch pad into college because they already have a clear idea of what they're passionate about. And the benefits just ripple outwards. Parents love it. They're 3 times more satisfied. The programs directly help fill the jobs that local businesses are struggling to fill. And students walk out the door with actual valuable certifications, like for OSHA safety or Adobe software, that make them hireable from day one. It's education that builds a stronger future for everybody.
Okay, so we've seen how powerful these programs can be, right? Now let's switch gears and look at the reality on the ground in Milford. Because while they have a really valuable program, it is facing some pretty serious hurdles. And this sentence right here really gets to the heart of the problem. You've got these 21st century goals, this forward-thinking education, but it's all happening inside facilities that are frankly falling apart. There's this huge gap between the education they want to give and the actual building they have to give it in. Okay, so let's take a look inside. And I've got to warn you, some of this is pretty shocking. These aren't stock photos. These pictures were all taken right inside Milford's high school today. I mean, look at this. This is the precision machining lab. Some of these lathes are almost a century old, 100 years. They're worn out, they're not accurate, and here's the most important part. A lot of this stuff just isn't safe by today's standards. It doesn't meet OSHA compliance. We're asking kids to learn a modern trade on what are basically museum pieces. And it gets worse. This isn't just old. This is a straight-up safety hazard. The dust collection system for these metal grinders is totally busted. That means tiny metal particles are just floating in the air that students and teachers are breathing all day. It's not a safe place to learn, period. And it's not just the equipment that's failing, it's the building itself. This is the ceiling in the culinary arts dining room. A space that should be clean and professional, but you can see it's just wrecked by constant roof leaks. And if you step into the actual kitchen, it's the same story. The big stuff, the convection oven, the steamer, the dishwasher, they're all either broken, ancient, or both. I mean, how are you supposed to train someone for a professional kitchen when the tools are worse than what you'd find in a thrift store? You just can't. Okay, so you might be thinking, well, the tech programs must be fine, right? Wrong. They're trying to learn computer science on machines from 2016. Think about that. A 2016 computer. it can barely even log on. The network is painfully slow, and yep, you guessed it, more water stains on the ceiling. And check out video production. The classroom is the studio. They're crammed into the same tiny room. Because of that, only about 15% of the floor is actually usable for filming anything. And you see that professional lighting grid they have up there? Yeah, only 3 of the lights actually turn on. 3! It's just impossible to do good work in there. Okay, so the problems they're pretty bad. We've seen that. But the good news is there's a really smart, focused plan to fix all of it. It's called the CTE-only renovation project, and it's basically a blueprint for the future. And this isn't some pipe dream, it's a real detailed plan. You can see right here on the floor plan how they're going to renovate and modernize all those labs we just looked at. And this is huge. They're also adding space for brand new programs, things like electrical and power sports, that are in super high demand with local employers right now. So at the end of the day, what does this all add up to? Well, it means the labs will actually look like the places these kids will one day work in. It means they'll be safe. It means more kids can get into these amazing programs instead of being stuck on wait lists. It just makes the whole system work the way it's supposed to. Okay, the big question, the one everyone's asking. How much is this going to cost? And this is where the story gets really interesting. The whole thing costs $14.8 million. But, and this is the key part, look at this chart. The state of New Hampshire is ready to chip in $11 million. That's almost 75% of the entire project. The local share, what the town needs to cover, is just $3.8 million. And here is the catch. You have to understand this part. That $11 million from the state, it's sitting there waiting, but we can't touch it unless the community approves its local share first. It's an all-or-nothing deal. If the local bond passes, boom, Milford unlocks that huge investment from the state. If it doesn't, that money goes away. So everything we've talked about really boils down to one specific day, the vote in March of 2026. This is the moment, the opportunity for the community to make all of this happen and to invest in the success of its students.
Now, this isn't a brand new conversation. Back in 2024, a bigger plan didn't pass. It got about 41% support. Then, in 2025, a similar plan got so close, almost 59%, and you need 60 to pass. The support was growing, but the message from the community was clear. We want something more focused. And that's exactly what this CTE-only project is. It's a direct response to that feedback.
So it all comes down to this one question. What's it going to be? Are we going to make a smart investment in our students' future, grabbing millions in state aid to build something incredible? Or are we just going to face the rising costs of doing nothing? You know, the constant emergency repairs, the unsafe classrooms, and worst of all, the opportunities our kids will miss out on? That is the choice on the ballot in March 2026.